All right. Welcome to our newly revamped series of success meetups, tips and tricks, and of course, Q&A. So if you're new to these, we just started this week. So what these are, they are going to be so you can, we're going to have a topic for us every single day. So there's always going to be a specific topic for you to hop in on. And then you can also, then there's lots of Q&A as well, right? We want to make sure that we're able to get all kinds of information going, right? And so we start with a topic, open it up to some general Q&A, really whatever you want to know about. We'll start with on-topic Q&A, and then we'll open it up to, again, really anything you want to know about. And so I'm going to go ahead and dive right on in. So today's topic is all about completing your calls within kvCORE, right? We all know that we need to complete calls. That's not a question to anyone, right? Real estate is all about relationship building, and a great way to do that is by making those phone calls. It's up to you how many phone calls you want to make each day. kvCORE sets a bare minimum recommendation of 10. I've talked to some top producing agents where I live in Southern California. They say 25 to 30. I've talked to some managers who say an hour of phone calls doesn't matter how many you actually get in there. So we all know that phone calls are important. Before I dive in, just how you can talk to me, right? You can chat in, say hello. You can also unmute yourself. We got a nice small group. I'm going to change those settings so you can talk if you want to. You can use that chat if you want to. All about, again, interaction today. These Q&As are nice small group settings. So, want to make sure that you're feel comfortable asking questions here. So as we dive into completing your phone calls, again, we all know that they're, really important. And so what we want to do is make sure we get them done, right? And so there's lots of ways to schedule calls. There's lots of ways kvCORE schedules calls for us. There's ways that you can schedule your own calls, right? So that's step one is getting things on the agenda, right? And what I'm trying to do now is set up my mobile app as well, so that way I can show that off to you. So if you see me glancing down, that's what I'm doing. So you want to make sure you can complete your calls. You want to make sure you have calls that are scheduled for you, so you have things to complete, right? So when you're in kvCORE, awesome. We got Kelly, my success buddy here. She's our training director even. So, got the big guns with us today. And so in kvCORE, which you are all very familiar with, is this desktop here, right? And so this is where you can go to see all the calls that are scheduled for you and by you as well. And so it did used to be here. So I do want to call out that that's moved. Okay, it is now going to be in this call section on your kvCORE dashboard. Right, your dashboard's your organizational hub, right? Tells you what you should be doing, who you should be talking to, who's active, all that kind of good stuff you can find right from your dashboard. But what we're doing today is our calls, right? It's the second tab in here. And so you'll see what's due for you today. You'll see what's past due, because I'm a bad example. And you're also going to see anything that is scheduled by you that's coming up. So again, there's lots of ways to schedule calls. There's automated ones, and then there's things that you are scheduling here. And so if it's automated, that's not going to show up in the upcoming calls. Just know that, because we haven't gotten to that point of the automation yet. But when we do get there, that's when we're going to be able to, things that we schedule, we'll see that here. And then when the system schedules it, we're going to see it on our due today. There we go. I forgot to tell it I wasn't a robot. That's why I can't connect. I'm a robot. So that's where you can see your calls. Now, this is not the only place that you can see your calls. You also get an email that's sent to you every single morning with all of your calls and all of your tasks. So that way you know what you should be doing today. You can even decide what time that's being sent to you right here from your dashboard, right? Yeah, Rita, go ahead. You can unmute yourself, ask your questions, chat them in.
Yeah, so I use that, but I never get an email from kvCORE saying that this is the list of people you need to call.
Well, good. Okay. So they should be going to the email that you have in your profile. So a couple things to check. One, go into your profile and you'll have two different emails in here. You have your primary email, and then you'll also, do you have a secondary email in here, an email from?
Oh, no, there should be only
You don't
one.
need one. You don't need one. But what that is, if you did have an email from, you could choose to get notifications sent there or to your regular email. Now, do you get other notifications from kvCORE? Like when you get a new lead, things like that?
Yes, I'm thinking I should get that. So
Okay.
I should only have one email, ritagrover@hotmail.com. So that's
Mm-hmm.
my primary email. I don't
Okay.
do that. Mm-hmm.
So you're getting your notifications. So that's the best thing. So that's good. So at least that's
Okay.
working. But if you're not getting those daily emails, you might need to reach out to support. Here's what they look like. Let me show that to you. So
Please.
it does come from no reply at kvcore.com. So check your spam. No replies. Sometimes they do go to spam. So I would check on that. But if you're getting your other notifications, it might need to be that you reach out to support. If you're getting the other things, but not this one, that might be what you need to do.
I think I'm not getting anything because I was trying to send me a text or email through kvCORE because I've put myself as a client there, but
Mhm.
I never get those emails. So it means I'm not getting. So I'm glad I'm talking to you. So who do I need to talk to?
Support. And I want to point out there's two different things that you just said. So we just very briefly looked at our profile, right? So our profile has our phone number and our email address. And then you
Yeah.
mentioned very smart thing to do, add yourself in as a test lead. Do not give yourself this email or this phone number as your test lead because that confuses the system. So that might be why you're not getting that daily email of your agenda of your to do. So go into your test lead. Like I have a million test leads in here. They're actually really just all test leads. Make sure you don't have the same email address. So that could be one reason you're not getting it. The other reason you're getting it, Kelly just chatted out that no reply at kvcore.com. Add it as your contact in your emails as an agent. Go to your agent email, add no reply at kvcore.com as a contact. That way you're saying like, this is not spam Gmail. I want this, right? Because no replies sometimes wind up in spam. So two things, check your test lead.
Okay.
Second thing you can do, add this as a contact. And then from there, if you still aren't getting it, please reach out to support. We can dive into that. So support, bottom right-hand chat widget right here.
Okay.
I'm not getting my daily email.
Okay, good.
And they'll troubleshoot with you.
All right. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to deviate you from the course. So sorry about
that is what today is all about. Q&A, right? We've got my agenda. We'll get through that. This is relevant. Ask those questions. There'll be time at the end for non-relevant questions. So if we got time for all of it, no worries. Yeah. And this is important, right? Because lots of us organize ourselves in different ways. Like I would complete my calls as a time blocker. And I would look here and see how many calls I had to do today, right? I only have one, but I don't need that much time in my time to get, I don't need to block off that much time today, right? I'm a time blocker. So some people though aren't time blockers. Lots of people are not time blockers. Another thing that you could do is just stick it in throughout the day, right? As I'm early to my next appointment, I can pull up my kvCORE mobile app, which we'll review in a minute, and check in there.
I always tell people I'm going to jump in. I always say I'm never going to jump in, but then I always jump in. So
I love it. Jumping away.
But you mentioned something, Christine, that I think is a really big call out, is that these calls and tasks, you can do them from anywhere, because we don't expect you to roll out of bed and check your laptop. But let's face it, we all roll out of bed and grab our phone, right? So you should be grabbing your phone and hitting that kvCORE app, because this same information is going to be right on the app. And you're already in it. You know, you're checking your emails. You know, you're checking your messages. Open up the app and check your calls, because if you don't have to jump out of bed, you can start dialing up some phone calls. What a great, time saver in your day. I'm all about streamlining things. And if I can do it from bed, so be it.
Exactly. Yeah. And so I'm struggling to connect my app. We'll get it there. But you can see your calls, your tasks, all from the app. Makes it a lot easier. And so, yeah, let's talk about how we get these calls scheduled, right? And then we'll jump into how to complete them. So again, there's lots of ways to schedule these calls. There's automated through kvCORE, right? Because kvCORE does a lot of automation for us. And then there's DIY, where you can do it. I'm actually going to start there. Switch it. So you can schedule your own calls right from the desktop, right in the top where it says quick actions. This is one of the places. So I can go to quick actions and I can add a call from here. So we're going to skip this for now, schedule a call, the third item here. So if I'm sitting down this morning and, let's say I'm looking at my activity stream and Jenna is so active, but I'm looking at this at 6:30 in the morning. I'm not going to call Jenna. I can go to my quick actions and add a call and schedule a call for later today. I just type in Jenna. There she is. And I want the notes are for me. So I want to touch base about recent property views. Right? I want to make sure I get that done. I could even just schedule it for right now. That's fine. Or in 2 minutes from now, schedule that call. Right? Or even right here, as I look at Jenna, there's that call option. Same box pops up. I call this my call box. It's not the official name, but it's a box when it happens when you push call. So I can schedule that call from here too. Or if I go to Jenna's detail record, so if I click on her name or otherwise navigate here, same thing, new call, schedule out that call, right? So lots of ways where I get to say, I know I want to get this done. So I'm going to, schedule it out, right? I don't want to forget anything. Kelly, do you remember 100% of the things you intend to do?
I can't remember what I had for breakfast yesterday.
I'm so glad you laughed at that. That was the point. Right?
Okay, I'm going to hop off here and jump in on my phone in case you need me to screen share.
Perfect. Thank you. I think I got it, but we'll see. And so, yeah, I mean, I have the best intentions, right? Who doesn't? So I have the best intentions, but if I want to actually get it done, I need to schedule it. I need to write it down. And so that's what I'm doing here. You can do it on the mobile app. Again, once that's coming up, it's cooking. Now it just needs to load. And so you can schedule your calls right from your mobile app too. So maybe you see someone in the grocery store, we have a little chat. I'm like, oh, I want to remember to call them. Schedule it. Right. So that's how you're going to schedule things. Excuse me, little throat tickle. Hydration break with my throat tickle. And so scheduling things, that's how you are going to make sure that you're getting things done, right? Pretty straightforward there. And so you can also rely on our automation, right? So calls are scheduled for you through smart campaigns and through daily call creation. Now, I'm going to pause here, and I've made us a nice handout for all of you that has a direct link to a lot of the articles that I'm going to kind of be referencing or talking about. Like if you're a reader, then let's go ahead and make sure you can, check yourself and get all caught up with everything that you need here. So all related support articles are going to be found right here on this doc. Now, please click on this doc right now, okay? Because it's not going to be sent to you. You can find all these articles on your own, of course, right? I'm not recreating the wheel here. You can find all these articles on your own, but I just kind of tried to make it a little bit more organized for you. So as I talk about smart campaigns, direct link right to the article all about smart campaigns. You can find this article on your own, but I direct linked it for you. All right, so smart campaigns is one way that you can get calls scheduled for you. Now, today is not a smart campaign training. We're not going to go deep into that. The only thing I'm going to talk about with smart campaigns is they are pre-created action plans for you. Okay, and they are based on your relationship with these people and where they are, their status along their client journey. Right? You can make your own campaigns. That's for a future day. But for now, these are pre-created follow-up systems. Right? So for example, if I look at my sphere, here is a pre-created follow-up system for my sphere of influence. And if I look at what's happening in here, there's tasks scheduled for me, text messages that go out, and scheduled calls, right? So smart campaigns are action plans, and they schedule phone calls for you. They do a lot of other stuff, but for the purpose of today, they schedule those phone calls. So that's one way that you can get calls scheduled for you, right? So if we look at my calls that are due today, I've got my last and final piece of getting scheduled for me, which this is hands down my favorite feature of kvCORE. Okay, hands down, absolutely no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And it's right here, and it's not very shiny, but it's my favorite thing, and it's called daily call creation. So I'm even going to chat that out because I love it so much. So daily call creation is my favorite kvCORE feature, right? And the reason I love it so much is real estate's all about relationships, right? And to build those relationships, we need to engage with our leads and our contacts. And what kvCORE does really well is make sure we don't miss out on an opportunity for that engagement, right? Does that really well. And daily call creation is my favorite way that it does it. It schedules calls for you, and you can edit your settings here, and you can decide how many calls you want it to schedule for you. And it doesn't just randomly schedule calls for you. It schedules them based on actual behaviors. So there's a list of these behaviors. Again, it's not a question. If I click on my daily call creation, it's going to give me exactly my list of behaviors. So it's going to look for people who have triggered behaviorals. So triggered a behavior, meaning they're doing specific activity on your website. So if they've done that in the last 24 hours, they're on your website, they're engaging, and they're engaging with a hot behavior, but you haven't called them lately, schedules that call for you. Kelly, would that be helpful for you? If someone favorites a property, you get a little reminder to call them.
Tell you what, if I had the bandwidth in my day and I wasn't running kids back and forth to school and I wasn't showing houses and taking listing appointments, and if I wasn't doing all that stuff, I would be following all of these people on my website. But I don't have time to do that. I ain't got time to do that. So I love knowing that the system is doing it for me. And it's creating a curated list of people who have started warming up in their intentions. So their intent is starting to warm up. The system is bubbling those to the surface for you and putting together a list of people that are starting to show the signs, which are great conversation starters. Oh my gosh, it looks like you've been on my website recently. I just want to reach out and let you, ask you if you need property tax information. Are you looking to buy or sell in the near future? Whatever your conversation method is in your elevator pitch, having that curated list keeps you from having to throw a dart on the board every day and say, I wonder who I should call today and why.
Right. Exactly. So this is my favorite feature. Again, it's not the shiniest feature. It's not, but it is. I love it so much. And so you're not missing any opportunities. There's also opportunities where people might start to forget about you. For example, they have been viewing properties some point in time in the last 6 months, but you haven't called them in 30 days, right? So maybe you don't have a smart campaign for them, or maybe you know, just missed it when it was scheduled, right? We're humans. So we're going to, kvCORE is trying again. It's going to get in there and schedule stuff. Yeah, Rita, go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No, no sorry. That's what this is for.
This is for people who are in our CRM, right?
Yes.
Okay, so you, from the dashboard, you go to daily creation and then it takes you to this page?
Well, what I was showing you, because what people ask, so good question. So I log in, here's my dashboard, right? Usually you see your activity stream first. Your activity stream is who's doing something you might want to pay attention to. I can react to these things, but I also want to, you know, I want to have some systems in place. So I've got my calls that are scheduled. They're scheduled for me, and they're also scheduled by me.
Yes.
Right. So I've scheduled things myself. I've let my smart campaign schedule some things. And now we have my daily call creation. I just pulled up that article because people often ask exactly how and why it's scheduling things. So for here, my evaluation Thursday, obviously a test lead, it's telling me exactly which of those daily call creations, like which rule it's following. So this person has not been called in 30 days. They have viewed properties. It even shows me the last time that they called.
This is part of powering up your automations.
Yes.
And so the cool thing is they're turned on for you. And we target those people that we know require speed to lead on your part. You know, people that are new leads, people that are prospects and active leads. So when you're considering, gosh, you know, who do I want on this list, and to make sure that the system is managing them to its fullest extent, you can go in and change those and maybe add your sphere of influence in there as well. Now all those leads are going to start to apply to people in your sphere as well. Maybe that's not your jam and you're like, no, I don't think I need to know that. I've got a different strategy for them. You can do that as you can change and manage those. This is turned on by default for you. And so you should see at least your prospects, new leads, and active leads show up. But here's the thing. Everything in kvCORE is powered by what, Christine?
Automation.
Leads. It's powered by leads. You can't go farther. You can't get past go in kvCORE if you don't have leads.
Yeah.
Leads literally trigger all of these automations. So if you don't have your contacts uploaded, you know, that's something to consider. I know that's not our conversation today, but I do like to point that out because the more leads you have in here, the more these algorithms and all these automations start kicking in for you and filling in the gaps, keeping people from slipping through the cracks, and really allow you to streamline your efforts and focus on those people that are starting to show some intent.
And I do get the question of, Christina, I imported my contacts, but daily call creation isn't working for me. And it's often because I imported them as my sphere, and daily call creation doesn't have sphere as default. So things like that to be aware of. I love, Kelly, that you pointed that out. These statuses here, these are the people who we want to become our clients, right? In their client journey, I want them all to become my clients, but they aren't yet for whatever reason, right? My prospects, they aren't really talking to me, or their timeline's far away. My new leads, I don't really know much about them yet. So you know, that's why. And active leads, they're talking to me. They're just not quite ready, right? They're maybe they need to get pre-qualified to save up that last $5,000 for the down payment, whatever it is. They're active. They're just not quite my clients. So I don't want to forget any of these people. And so again, favorite feature, stop gushing about it, but I love it so much. Other edits that you can make other than changing the status is it auto defaults to create calls each day, but my weekends are off. Now, Kelly and I have a difference in opinion here, and that's part of the beauty of kvCORE. Personally, I turned weekends on because do you work weekends? You totally do, right? And most of your clients don't work weekends. It's a great way to get them on the phone. Now, Kelly is busy on the weekends. She's got open houses. She's got showing. So she doesn't need more to do. So she has that turned off. That's one of the things I love about kvCORE is there's so much automation, but also so much personalization. You don't often get both of those things. So just, it is off on weekends on default. For me, I like to turn them on. I'm a new baby agent. I don't have enough to do yet, so I make calls on weekends. Now, Kelly, different season of her career, right? Plus she's a mom, plus. So she needs her weekends to do her showings and appointments and open houses and stuff like that. So she needs those off. So you can kind of customize. You can also customize how many calls it's going to make for you. Remember, 10's the default here, but some of the top agents I've talked to say 25 or 30 even to talk to every day. Right. And then that agenda email that gets sent to you with your calls, tasks, and new leads. Right. So you can check out those settings. You could check it in your profile. You can also just do it right from here. Right. And all that to go to show you how kvCORE is scheduling calls for you. So all this just to get calls scheduled. Okay. Now there's many ways to complete your calls. We kind of peeked at one of them before, right? I can click my call from here. We can go to my quick actions at the top, add a call from here, right? If I'm doing that, I need to tell which contact we're calling. I could also click on my lead details and name. Maybe, for example here, this is my daily call creation in action. Lead has not been called in 30 days. All right, but I don't even have their real name. I don't know much about them. I need some history here. So let me click on their name and look at their details, right? Ooh, I am past due with a reminder here. I can see, okay, predictive behavior. They've gone up in their predictive behavior. That's their star rating. That's another day. But I can see, okay, they have been looking at some properties. Okay, now I have some information and I'm ready to call them, right? So I can look at all my tasks and call from here. I can just complete a call from here, or I can click the call button from here. Now, quick show of hands, just chat in yes or raise your hand. How many of you have heard of the kvCORE smart number?
Can I raise my hand?
Yes, you can. Yes, please.
My hand is virtually raised.
All right, hands going up, love it. Couple hands. All right, you're awake. I'm glad you're all here with us. Oh, we've got some, no shame, but some late arrivers. So I'm just gonna go through and make it so you can talk too. This is interactive. Ask your questions, either out loud or in chat. So the smart number is a digital number that is provided to you for free in kvCORE. You can view your smart number if you click on your name in the top right-hand corner. Okay. And now that I think about that, I'm going to add that to this little cheat sheet because that's pretty important. And so your smart number does a couple things. One, you should never call it because it's going to think you're a new lead. You're not, you're an agent. So never call it. Okay. Two, it's one of the ways that you can communicate out to your leads and your contacts. Three, the kvCORE system reaches out to you to tell you when there's things for you to pay attention to. So it does a lot of things, okay? It is a digital phone number, and it allows you to do things like initiate phone calls from a computer, like I'm about to show you. It allows you to automate the sending of text messages through those smart campaigns. It allows you to mass text through a computer. So it lets you do all of those things. Quick note, side note, this number is based on the office that you're in. Kelly and I are in the same office, so we have the same smart number. That's fine though, because when my leads reach out to the smart number, they come to me. They're already in my CRM. So my leads in my CRM come to me. When Kelly's leads in her CRM reach out to that number, they go to her. Right? So even though we technically have the same number, kvCORE knows how to route it based on who's in our CRMs. Okay. Now, if I don't want to share with Kelly, even though that's how it works, I can go to the marketplace, purchase my own smart number. That is certainly something that I can do, not something I have to do. Some people just like that little, okay, this is mine kind of a thing. Totally fine. So the reason I wanted to go through the smart number is because it comes up as you're making your phone calls. Your phone calls, you can either choose to utilize the smart number or your own cell phone. So here is a direct link to find out more about the smart number, about your own smart number. This is a marketplace link. If you want just direct link, there it is. So when I'm communicating with my contacts, I can use that smart number. The pros of that, it's going to match my smart campaign texting. I don't have to think about it. I don't have to go in and log things. I love all those things. Now, I could choose to use my cell phone number to communicate. That's when we're going to use the mobile app, and it did get up and functioning, so I'll show you that. So when I make my phone call and I want to use the smart number, because again, that's what the texting is coming from. I don't want to have to log things. I don't have time for that. I click my call button and I have this red warning. I do that on purpose so I never forget to talk about it. You can close it out if you want to. So what happens here with this call now, as an agent, my cell phone is going to ring and it's going to be the smart number. I'm going to pick it up, right? Answer that call. There's not a robot, it's a recording. He's a real person. And it says, press 1 to connect now to your lead. So you do. And then we're kind of like three-way calling my lead, right? So I would be calling this valuation person and I'm physically holding my phone as the agent and they are seeing my smart number as my contact number. Now, again, I do that because everything logs for me. I do that because, that it's consistent with the smart campaigns. I don't have to think about it, right? And I love that. The less I have to like manually do stuff, the better. Now, if I want them to see my cell phone number, I can do that. That's totally fine. I can either call them like I'm used to, right? I got this person on my phone. I pick up the phone, I call them, then I log my call. So if I'm not using the smart number and I'm not using the mobile app, I log my call, right? So I come in here, valuation. I didn't get to talk to her. I left a voicemail about recent property views. She wasn't home or they weren't home. And now I'm completed with my call, right? Now, that's completing my calls in the desktop, scheduling calls in my desktop. Without further ado, I'm going to transition to my cell phone. So we stopped sharing screen. Don't be worried. That was on purpose. I'm going to navigate to my phone screen. Okay, there we go. So ignore me. My sisters are apparently their group chat is going. So I go to my kvCORE app right there, front and center. Okay, and it looks a little different than my desktop, but it's the same principle. All the same info is here, right? So we're going to focus on these two near the bottom right. So we've got our tasks. I just want to point them out. It's not really our focus. And then to the left of that, I have my dialer, which is my focus for the day. Now, you'll notice that there's more options for phone calls here. Okay, all these options, whoop, go away. We're trying to plan a Elton John concert. So, so I have lots of options of ideas of people I can call. I can find this on my desktop. It's also right here for me. So if I click on today's calls, it's going to show me my, one lead called today. Because I already called this person. So let's go to my overdue calls. Right, and this is my list of overdue calls. Right, so these are all people with phone numbers. They're all people I was supposed to have called at some point. So if I click on, let's just pick Henry Smith. Right, I can see, okay, he's on the dialer list of overdue calls. That's why he's now appearing on my screen. I can review his timeline here. I can review other tasks. Click on that there. So man, got some past due stuff. All right, I'm ready. So let's go ahead and dial now. I'm not going to really dial now, but that's how I could call them if I want them to see my cell phone number and I want it logged in kvCORE. So I don't have to go in and like manually log it myself. Sorry. Of course, they start texting right as this gets going. Trying to go see Elton John. So This is how I can make my calls through my mobile app. Now, we're not going to do a full mobile app training today. That is certainly something that is worth a time. But today we're just looking at that list. And I want to point out some other lists available too. There's my overdue, there's today's calls, there's new leads, right? So anyone who's new in the last couple months, let's put them on here. By activity stream, people who are actively looking at properties, inactive leads. Look at that number. Horrible. Let me call them, engage with them, put them on search alerts. So it gives me lots of ideas here. And I also like at the bottom, my dialing summary, right? So I can look back and see how many people have I called. So I've called 3 people today, right? 1 person I actually talked to, but 2 people weren't home. I can even look at the options there. I can try dialing them again. Right, so I love my dialing summary. It's also good if I don't remember what I did yesterday or what I ate for breakfast, right, Kelly?
For just a quick reminder for those folks that have not downloaded the app, where can they download the app?
Oh, they can go right to the Google Store or the App Store. They can also, there's a link right on the desktop that it'll send them a text even, so it makes it even easier. So
which
right
actually is probably the way I would recommend it, only because there might be a few of you that have a unique app just for your brokerage. So it's always best to start in kvCORE to download and send that
Agreed.
link to get that app yourself, because we want you to get the app that's connected to your brokerage.
Yeah, good call out. Good call out. I totally agree. And so while I'm here, one other feature of the actual dialer in kvCORE. So let's pick something with multiple people, like my activity stream here. And if I just click dial now, you'll also see in the top right corner how it starts counting down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This helps me stay focused. This way I don't get that shiny object syndrome of I made a phone call and then my dog looks cute and so I'm going to go pet her, right? Or the cat starts meowing and she must have treats. No, I get to focus on making my phone calls, right? And, or let's say, oh, you know what, I did talk to Dan. He's out of town. I forgot to put that note in. So I'm just going to skip him for now. But it helps me focus on that list. I can pause it. Like I always pause while I'm training, or okay, I'm ready to go, or you know what, I need to be done now for the day. So I can do all those things. I can also click my settings icon and that countdown was 5 seconds. If that's just never enough time for me, I can push it to 10, or I can just say, I just want to manually make these phone calls. Please stop that dial.
Which I have to tell you, the built-in dialer is such an efficiency tool that, I'm gonna ask the question. I probably should have put a poll together for this, but I'm just gonna ask it out loud, and I may even go to the audience. Let's just talk about the basics for a second. Why do we make phone calls? Why do we call people? This is a real basic question. There's really no wrong answer here. So Rose, you've been here since the beginning. Go ahead and unmute yourself. Hopefully I didn't catch you multitasking. Why is it that you think making phone calls are super, super important? Or anybody? Ivy, hi Ivy, thanks for joining us. Go ahead and unmute. I want to hear from you guys. Why do you think making phone calls is so important?
Relationships.
Relationships. It's all okay. And the more phone calls you make equal the more relationships you build, which equals more closed deals, which equals more paychecks. So it's really, sorry, Ivy, no problem. Which is really why we really want to focus on making this process as easy for you as possible. So all of these things that Christina is showing you is ways to really streamline this. So in the past, before dialers and before using kvCORE, struggling to make maybe 1 or 2 or even 3 phone calls in a row without disruptions, without being able to stop and document, it was a real challenge. But if you're using the dialer the way it was designed, it allows you to just knock those phone calls out. So to that, I'm going to challenge you guys. After this webinar, go into your daily call creation and schedule more phone calls. Bump that default from 10, change it to 15. Give yourself a little time, but the more phone calls you make, the more relationships you're going to build, and the more dollars you're going to earn. That's just the bottom line. Sorry, I had to get off my soapbox now.
I love it. I chatted out that challenge because I agree. Yeah, and I, I was playing around in the settings here. We should just do a whole session just on the app. We probably will, because there's so many settings. Like if I pick my new lead setting list and then I go to the settings here, I can say, okay, after my post or after post call tasks, I usually want to do one of these tasks. I can put a couple tasks so that way they're like suggested next actions after I call my new lead. So, that could be update their smart campaign. That could be update their search alert. It could, there's just so much that you can do in here. We're not going to go over all of it today. Maybe we do. Maybe we do just a whole session just on the dialer, but lots of cool things that you can do right from, just the palm of your hand. And I also did want to show you how you would go about scheduling a new call, because I showed you how to do that on the desktop. This is a little different. So this I'm going to do within the actual contacts. So contacts on the bottom, not all the way to the left, to the right, just one. And so I can do it a couple ways. One is, wrong one, that nice big blue plus button at the bottom, right? I can look through my different contacts from here, right? And I can schedule activity. So I could schedule tasks right here. I can't schedule calls, but you could see the task and then make the call. But what I could do, so this is like my mass action, just like you can do mass actions on the CRM. So that blue plus button, I'm doing mass action so I can mass schedule tasks. That task can be to make calls, or I could go into the individual, right? So I'm looking at Marielle here. And now that I'm in with Marielle, now I can just complete a call with her, right? So I can just kind of get things done with Marielle right from within the palm of my hand. So pretty cool. Any other questions about the dialer specifically in the app?
Yeah, can we make a video call though with this number?
No, not with the smart number. But what you could do if you wanted to do video calls, you can always then log that you've made the call. Good call. And to go further on that, as I'm making calls from the mobile app, it's going to show my cell phone. So any calls from my mobile app show my cell phone number. Yeah, and good question. It came in from Ivy. Can I schedule recurring tasks? You can schedule recurring phone calls, and you could, for recurring tasks, you would need to do like a smart campaign. So good question. Cool. I'm going to exit now off of my computer. I'm going to go back to exit off my phone, go back to my computer. There we go. There we go. Okay, so yes, you can do recurring phone calls. So just like when you're scheduling calls, that lovely call box that I called it, when you're scheduling calls, you can do a specific date and time, right? So maybe I'm going to call Marielle, notes. So I remember what I'm calling about. And I can repeat these calls, right? So I'd schedule out my first one. My first one's going to be a week from now. And I want to repeat them. So I want these calls, I get to pick the number of calls and how often it's going to happen. And so I might choose to call her 6 times over the next 3 months. And then it's going to auto schedule those for me. I don't have to worry about it, right? That's where you're going to see more and more upcoming calls because I'm scheduling these for the future. Right.
Which, by the way, yeah, this is a good place to call out for those of you that are trying to kind of figure out how can I leverage some of these automations and power up my sphere of influence? Because maybe you don't want to have your great Aunt Martha on a smart campaign that sends her emails every day, but you want to call great Aunt Martha because she picks up the phone every time you call her. So, and she gives you referrals and she knows everyone in the neighborhood. So it's got to call great Aunt Martha. I would use this as an opportunity to schedule great Aunt Martha on a series of maybe 6 phone calls over the course of 6 months. And that way I'm calling her twice a month. She's happy, I'm happy, and I'm getting referrals.
I love that. Yes, if there's anyone, I would say I love smart campaigns. Again, I have, and I will talk about them for hours. If you aren't where I am, that's okay. Anyone not on a smart campaign, though, should be either pre-scheduled calls or make sure that status is included in your daily call creation. That's what I think. That would be my opinion.
I think that's a very, very good path forward. And that helps you still power up your automations for your leads and contacts and leverage kvCORE's automations, but put it on speed dial, put it on autopilot so that you don't have to remember to make those calls. Because the whole purpose of these daily calls and reminders and smart campaigns is really to take that part of it out of your brain. Don't worry about it. We've got you covered. All you have to do is come in and do the wash, rinse, repeat. Pick up the phone, start calling. Pick up the phone, start calling. Pick up the phone and start calling.
Exactly. Ivy is a great question. Many of your clients prefer texts. Can kvCORE acknowledge texts as done like they do calls on the to-do? So let's say that, good call out, right? Let's say Jenna here, she prefers texts. If I was going to schedule it, I would schedule it as a task. So like if I know this person doesn't want phone calls, they want text messages, that's one thing I would do. I would schedule it as a task because you can't currently schedule text messages. You can, so I would task myself to send a text. Or, if I see that this call is here,
it's a prompt.
Yes.
It's really a prompt. You can look at it and you can mark it as done and write your note and then just go send the text. So you're kind of using the system and it's a good workaround. Just know that and that might be part of the details that you put in the note, prefers text only. Build that into your workflow so that when you see it and recognize it, if you are scheduling those calls, put prefers text only, and then it's going to show up that way. So, okay, great. I need to go manually send her a text and then move on with my day. Oh, thanks, Mike. We appreciate you showing up.
Now there's a question, hoping it wasn't from Mike. Okay, no, it's from Patricia. It was a little off topic. To apologize that I missed it. And the question it had to do with smart numbers. If I send out a landing page or a squeeze page, if I don't have my own smart number, can someone responds, will I get that call? So landing pages and squeeze pages don't advertise your phone number in an outbound manner, right? So depending on your setup, some of you are with organizations that your office or your company has the smart number on the website, right? Some of you are set up that way. For your website, it's your cell phone as long as you have that in your profile. If you don't have your cell phone number in there, it shows your smart number, so go look at that. And so if you're doing landing pages or squeeze pages, it's not really related to the smart number. Now, if you do, let's say you do a landing page and you have them put in their phone number. So, for example, I create just a quick landing page. And while I'm in here, I click this button to require a phone number, meaning that if they want this value that I'm going to give them, whatever the value is, they also have to give me their cell phone. So in that case, again, they're still not seeing my smart number. I can still decide how I'm going to reach out. Am I going to use my cell phone or my smart number? Really, what I would personally, I'm a fan of the smart number because the more I can take off my plate, the better, right? And as I go and look back at my smart campaigns, the texting all comes from the smart number. So do I want to edit all my smart campaigns and make it a task? No. Do I want to edit them at all? Not really. So all those texts are going to come from the smart number. So that's something to be aware of. But from there, just kind of choose, do I want to go buy my own smart number? You don't have to. Or the first one that goes out, first text ever that goes out to someone on a smart number does include like an unsubscribe notification to them, like how they can unsubscribe. Or what I like to do, maybe this is worth what you do. Going to the marketing section, remember, these are new leads, right? New leads that I'm generating, they don't know my cell phone anyway. They don't know my cell phone. They don't know my smart number. So my new leads, I want them all to communicate with me on the smart number anyway, because I want to automate, right? New leads, it's, yes, there's skill, but it's also numbers, right? So I want to get more new leads, automate my follow-up so I can be having more conversations. Conversations lead to relationships. Relationships lead to deals, right? So if I am using the smart number, I don't need to worry about logging, remembering things. I'm a fan of the smart number. If you feel differently than me, that's okay. You can edit your smart campaigns. You can go purchase your own smart number. You could just go to the first smart campaign and add like a little note at the bottom, like, oh, my direct sell is XYZ. So there's all kinds of ways to kind of make this all work together in the way that you want it to. So good question. I think we've covered all of our calling related questions. Any other questions relating to scheduling calls, completing calls, smart number, cell phone numbers, anything like that that you want to talk about?
I don't see anything coming in, Christina, but
anything else?
Well, you know what, I would like to ask you this. Number one, first of all, thank you for everybody that is new to our group here, our success meetup tips, tricks, and Q&A. For those of you that have attended the previous sessions that were formerly held by Ryan Hartman, he was our marketing guru that would hold these next level sessions. And as you know, he's moved on, and we have looked at this as an opportunity to start bringing you some next level. That's why we've changed it up on this success meetup open Q&A. And we are really turning to you as our audience to really ask you what it is that you'd like to see these sessions look like. We've been playing around with all sorts of ideas, but I would love to hear feedback on topics that you'd like us to cover. Are you looking for more guest speakers? Is there something that's just burning a hole in your pocket? You're like, wow, I wish they would really bring us more training or coaching in this. We want to hear from you. We definitely want to take all things into consideration, because we're definitely going to be progressing these meetup sessions to evolve over time. So thank you for being here. We really do appreciate that. I know there's probably some housekeeping that Christina wants to give to you. I know she popped in the outline for you guys so you could have these articles that she referenced today. If you have any questions, or if you have any feedback, feel free to use that chat. Send it over to us as hosts if you'd like to send it to us today. We are holding these sessions on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays as they're updated in the training calendar. You can register for one at a time, or just go ahead and sign up for as many as you like. Just so you know kind of what our method is right now, the Tuesdays and Thursdays session are focused on basic uses of the tools of kvCORE. So nothing we went over today is anything that really requires any advanced knowledge or skill set for using kvCORE. And our Wednesday session is designed to be more for those kind of intermediate to advanced users, or folks that are kind of next leveling their business using maybe outside resources. Things like yesterday we talked about embedding a Google form into a custom page, and then using Zapier to zap leads in. It was an awesome and fun session. The recordings are going to be posted on YouTube for you. So if you want to go back and catch the playlist, you can just subscribe and ring that bell so that you're notified when new things are added. That's the best way to get notified. And I think that's all I had for housekeeping. How about you, Christina?
Yeah, that was it. As we're bringing it back, kind of changing it up a little bit, we want to be able to hit users in all the different areas, right? Whether you're a long-term kvCORE user, brand new, maybe you're really active and fell off the wagon, we won't tell anyone, but we want to make sure we're providing what you want to learn about. So we're very open to suggested topics in the future. That kind of outline that I like that Kelly pointed out: Tuesday, Thursday, currently more basic; Wednesday, more advanced. Absolutely. Click click on that link though for that outline, because that doesn't get shared with anyone who isn't here right now.
Awesome. Quick show of hands. I always like to ask, and I really have to put a poll in here, Christina, so I can make this formalized, but quick show of hands. And Rita, you already have yours in the air, so I'm gonna, you can leave it up or put it down. But how many of you found this session, this type of basic session, to be helpful for you? Is this the type of content you're looking for that's gonna help move the needle in your business? I see a couple of hands going up.
Love it.
Okay. This is good. It tells me we're on track. We're starting to find that sweet spot. So that's good. Keep coming back. We look forward to seeing you next week. We'll be back on Tuesday. I will tell you now, as I told you, we're doing intermediate and advanced on Wednesday. Heather Bowden, who is our Done For You Services Director, is going to be on vacation, a well-deserved vacation. So we'll probably have 3 basic sessions next week. But she'll be returning the following Wednesday. So just give you a little heads up on what's coming up. All right, everybody, it's time to hop off this webinar and go sell a house. Have a great day.